Have you ever been a minority? Have you ever been the only woman in a room, the only man in a room, the only African American in the room, the only Caucasian in a room, the only any culture in a room? It's quite an interesting experience, isn't it? I love it. I've always loved it. I have had many experiences like that in my life, that I've been the only Caucasian in a room. It really, first of all, I've never, ever, ever felt uncomfortable, ever. But I also learned that you have to reach out to other people that are in a room that are the minority in a room. You just have to, because you have to make them feel comfortable. People did that for me. It was wonderful. I just love interesting, different people. So the picture that you see here is Cajun shrimp fettuccine from Stevie's Creole Cafe. So, Out to Lunch with Judy today is featuring Stevie's Creole Cafe in Los Angeles on Pico, near my house. Completely delicious food, like beyond anything I've gotten in New Orleans. And I've been to New Orleans several times. I was there when the World Fair was there. I was promoting the circus at the time. I used to work with the circus, and I was a marketing director. So I was in New Orleans during the World's Fair back in the 80s. Only minority in the room. Stevie's Creole Cafe is Black owned and 99.9% Black customers, African American, Black, whatever, different cultures. The nicest people in the entire world. I love being there. I've been there 3 times. I brought my friend Stacy there Saturday night, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful vibe. And I always think about that when I'm the only person who's white in a room. I always think about what a wonderful experience to feel what other people feel. You know, we go to personal gatherings sometimes, and there might be one Black family and this entire white group of people. How do you think they feel? We need to go out of our way and greet them. I I had that occasion at my niece's wedding, and I didn't do it. I have to confess. It's one of the moments in my life I'm not proud about. I wish I had gone over to this one family, brought them over to our table. It wasn't assigned seating. I could have done that. I don't know why I didn't think of it or I didn't do it. So, yeah, that's one time I wasn't really happy with myself, but other times I'm very happy because I love connecting with anybody. I really do. But being the only white person in a room, well, Stacy and I were the only 2 white people at Stevie's on Saturday night. The people couldn't have been nicer, friendly. We talked to each other, tables next to you. What are you eating? What are you eating? How does this taste? Sharing our excitement over food. Food connects. Food connects people. I really love that. Therefore, going to different nationality restaurants in Los Angeles, you just have this wonderful opportunity to meet people of so many different cultures because they have restaurants. And you go in there, and quite often you're surrounded by people of a completely different culture, completely different race. And it's just great to be there. You're sharing your humanity with people, and it couldn't be better. In this time of divisiveness in our country, uh, speaking of divisiveness in food, I have been so flipped out lately with this election and all that it means that I have been overeating. And we had the World Series last week, Dodger donuts every day. Then I make them into peanut butter and jelly Dodger donuts as if they didn't have enough calories. Yeah. Um, I haven't gained any weight, because I've been so flipped out. My body is just going through and processing the calories lickety split. So I don't know, maybe this should continue another week or two so I can continue to eat high caloric food without gaining weight. No, please. I need it to settle down. I need my life to go back to normal if there's any such thing as normal. But Stevie's Creole Cafe, I almost didn't go in. I almost didn't go in, not because of race, for God's sakes, because they weren't open when I first went there. They were supposed to be open, and you could see people scurrying around. It was an 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning. That's the first time I went. I've been there 3 times. And I didn't feel that the girl who ignored me at first when I kept banging on the door and calling on the phone saying, just tell me when you are going to be open. That's all I want to know. If you're late, that's fine. I get it. If you have a private party, that's why you're scurrying around and you're not going to open to the public. Please let me know so I don't wait around. All I wanted was information. So we got off on kind of the wrong foot. We did. And so she finally said, in an almost unpleasant tone, can't you see that we're late? Or no, as you can see, we're late and we're trying to make it nice for you when we open. I said, I really appreciate that. That's wonderful. I just want to know when you're going to open. If you're 10, 15 minutes late, that's fine. I can sit in the car. I can come back. Just let me know. That's all I want to know. Acknowledge me. Acknowledge me. All right. So I could have gotten prideful and walked away. How dare you talk to me like that? But I didn't because I wanted the food. Food was more important than my ego. We have to make hard choices sometimes. They're award winning. Their gumbo won like 1 million awards and well worth it, by the way. Their seafood gumbo, it's worth it just getting the broth. That's how good it is. Everything I've had has been wonderful. But I thought about it and I said, you know what? No, she's flipped out. She's late. God knows what. They went out partying last night. Who knows? I will wait. And I am so happy I did. Not only did they make it up to me, they gave me a ton of free stuff. They gave me free cornbread, blueberry cornbread, free cornbread. They gave me a free peach cobbler for dessert. I mean, they were really nice about it. So, okay, caught them off guard. But the only minority in the room was treated beautifully, really treated beautifully, me. And I'm so happy I had that experience. Now, I did have one other experience. I ran for public office. Way back in whatever. I'm ancient. Yes, many, many decades ago, I ran for public office. I was living in an upscale African American neighborhood in Pittsburgh. And it was suggested to me that I run for office. And I'm like, okay, why not? What's the office I should run for? I don't mind being a civic minded person. So I ran for ward committee woman and I campaigned door to door. I went in everybody's house. I spoke with them. I got to know their family. I asked what was important to them, what I could do for them. And so we connected. I won. Okay, I won, though there had to be drama attached. Always drama attached. So here's the drama. I was a Republican back in the day because my family was Republican. So you do what your family does, right? Until you learn that maybe that's not what you want to be, and then you change. So I went from Republican to Democrat once Nixon was impeached. And then I became an independent because I couldn't take it anymore. I think it's wrong for anybody to be on a political party unless you're invited to those secret meetings where all the deals are made. You're just being lied to. I really feel, for the most part, you're being lied to, even if they think it's for your own good, and they do. Politicians think it's for your own good that they don't tell you the truth, but they want your vote. They want your confidence. No, you don't get my confidence, and you will get my vote if I look at your voting record, if I listen to your speeches. I don't want a pundit interpreting what you're saying. I will listen to you and I'll figure out if I like you. And then I'll do some fact checking. Then I'll look at what your voting record is if you have one. I'll do my research and I will vote for the person I think is the best person at that point in time. Or like Stan on South Park, he wouldn't vote for the school mascot because he said one was a giant turd and the other was a douchebag. And then they ran him out of South Park because even if you have a giant turd and a douchebag, you must still vote. You can't not vote. I strongly feel that if you don't vote, you shouldn't have any public services. You shouldn't get the fire department to put the fire out in your house or get your cat out from the tree. No, you shouldn't have medical service, ambulances. No, no, you have to vote. You have to vote. We all have to vote. We don't get to not vote. But you better vote correctly. No, you'll vote for who you think is right. Food connects. So when I went to vote, after I had lunch, because I had to have lunch. It was a hard day of campaigning at the polling place all morning. Then I had to have lunch. Then I went in to vote and I realized the tragedy at that time. I was running on the Democratic ticket, but I was a registered Republican. It didn't work. So I had to go downtown to the voter registration office, change my party affiliation to Democrat, go back, show my card, and then vote for myself. Ridiculous. But I won. I was happy about that. I won. I was the only minority in the neighborhood. I was the minority. I, the Caucasian, was the minority, and it didn't bother me at all. In fact, I'll tell you one other story about being the minority. I forgot about this until just now. I used to work for the Clyde Beatty Cole Brothers Circus. I was a marketing director. As a marketing director, you travel 2 weeks ahead of the show. You put together the advertising, publicity, and promotion campaign. You put tickets on sale. You do media interviews, and hopefully you sell the shows out. So this one year, we were in Oklahoma City. That was my town to promote. And we were going to be there for 6 weeks because we were starting an arena tour. We were an outdoor circus all the time, but they wanted to try their hand at competing with Ringling. So they wanted to see about doing a few dates in arenas. And they gave me Oklahoma City to promote. Well, since we were going to be there 6 weeks, I didn't have to live in a hotel. We could get apartments. So they paid you your per diem and you could trade with tickets for food and hotel or whatever. So I called a real estate agent up and at night, like I was in a hotel at the beginning, but she came to pick me up at night and we drove around to look at some apartments and I needed a furnished apartment that I could cook in. Like I can cook, I can't cook. But at least it had to have dishes, pots and pans to heat up leftovers. So we look at this cute little apartment. It was a 3-story house, and there was an apartment on the second floor. So I said, "Oh, this is totally cute. I'll take it. Nice little neighborhood." Well, little did I realize it was an all African American neighborhood. I realized that when I moved in the next day. So I go into my apartment. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. No problem, but interesting. Funny, I couldn't tell at night. Nobody was walking around. She didn't mention it. Guess she didn't care. The next morning, there's a knock at my door, and it's the 2 gentlemen that live across the hall. They brought me cookies. They welcomed me to the apartment building, and they brought me cookies. I had such a wonderful time. People looked after me. The gas station was down the street. People talk, can I pump the gas for you, ma'am? I mean, they were just so incredibly nice to me. I said, God, I'm so happy I did this. And so I've had several occasions to be the only, to be the minority in the room. And it was actually a refreshing experience every single time. And I honestly feel because I approach things without fear, people are people. I love all people. And I don't mind going into areas where I'm the only white person. I really don't mind. So back to Stevie's. I'm typically the only white person in the place, and they couldn't be nicer and more warm and inviting to me. So I start bringing more people with me, more white people, of course. Stacy is white, so I brought her. She was happy, happy as a clam. People talked to her. We talked about what we were eating. Total fun. So I suggest this for everybody. So that's my out to lunch with Judy story. It's refreshing to be a minority because you get to learn that people are just people. People are engaging if you engage them generally. I love the experience. And I wanted to share that with all of you. So that's my little out to lunch with Judy message for today. If you're in LA, Stevie's Creole Cafe, you'll love every single thing you eat and you'll love every single person you meet. Out to lunch with Judy. Till our next meal.